Like everyone else, we were quarantined. However, we got out the house. I'll show you what we did. Hope you enjoy. Post headquarters. This is the fort's headquarters, also known as the administration building, constructed in 1901. The first floor of the building contained offices. The second floor was used for court martial and record storage. The fort's first official headquarters was located and still stands today at the southeast end of Maple Boulevard. After World War II, this administration building became part of the Governor Beacon Health Center that was later used by the Delaware Bay Marine Institute, the Civil Air Patrol. And now, so they have court martials and all that good stuff. They're like, do. We are in Delaware City. And next to the headquarters is the movie theater, 1933. It was built in 1933. It seats 138 people for the soldiers and their families. It was a great escape for then and now. The box office in 1933, where everybody got their tickets, which were 20 cents for adults, 10 cents for children. The old box office. And it says it was constructed by the first engineers in 1933. These bricks were brought from England in the 17th century and used in the construction of Lord Fairfax Mansion, Beaufort, Virginia, 1736. Wow, I'm touching bricks from from the 17th century, rather. Yeah, it was constructed in 33, but the bricks were from 1736. Woohoo! Let me see what's down here. We are in Delaware City. This is Fort Dupont. And this here is the, they say, Post Exchange. The Post Exchange, or as most people in the military know it as the PX, was constructed in 1906 and it was later known as Burton Hall. The PX was a multi-purpose facility that over the years included a gymnasium, bowling alley, barbershop, pool table, soda fountain, exchange, and library. Their troops enjoying one of the many socials held there. You can see that. Then and now. And these are the parade grounds here at Fort Dupont. 18 acres of open space was the focal point of most of the fort's existence and served many purposes over the years. This appears to be another old structure, like from what I read prior, could have been officers' quarters. All this military things, stuff, all that good stuff. Yeah. Supply warehouse. That's where they had supplies in the 30s. Yeah. There's nothing like history. But every time I see these history sites, I'll go to them. Always imagine what were African Americans going through. Because in the military in the 30s, we were subjugated to digging latrines, cleaning in the kitchen, servitude. Although in the military, we were servants. Some military housing where some of the troops presumably stayed on base. Yeah. Fort Dupont, a gym we just ran across. And military housing in the 30s. This another old structure. Look at this here. If the walls could talk. Wow. If they could talk. Wow. Commanding officers' quarters, constructed in 1910. Commanding officers' row. The commanding officers' quarters sits on what was once Delaware City farmland. The building is prominently located on the north corner of Parade Ground, a highly visible and dominating presence within the fort. From here, the commanding officer could observe troop drills, recreational events, and everyday fort activities. Ulysses S. Grant grandson. Colonel Ulysses S. Grant III, grandson of Civil War hero and President U.S. Grant, commanded the 1st Engineer Regiment and the Civilian Conservation Troops, a corps of Fort Dupont. Then and now. Parade grounds right behind them, where they drilled all that good stuff. 26-0 oil, man. Officers' Row in Fort Dupont. The Officers' Row was home to commissioned officers and their families. The row was originally the Henry Farmhouse driveway leading from the canal. The fountain replaced the triangle between Officers' Row and Elm and Maple. Can you see it then? Kind of dark, I don't know. And now, if you notice, there's a fountain there, and that is now gone. That would have been, I guess, right here. Right in the middle, yeah. Right in the middle. And now it's not there because homes, and the fountain was there. And as I said, commissioned officers, and like I said, now they have new home and new construction being built up here. And you can purchase and be a part of history at Fort Dupont. Would you like to live amongst the history that is Fort Dupont? some of the homes and officers' row.
So they were all down here according to the picture.
Yeah.
This whole street.
This whole street was officers' row. You got the new homes back there, obviously. It floated across the river. I don't know what that is about. I ain't getting off of that one. Nice homes that they refurbished. I don't know how much they started on that. And obviously, this is the church, the house of worship for the base, I assume. Great Assumption. The Christian Fellowship Church. The chapel. It was constructed in 1941. The soldiers going in the chapel on Sundays, getting their spiritual needs, preparing to go abroad. The spire of this chapel indicates its non-denominational status. The Army considered wooden structures temporary. Most of the wooden structures at this location were torn down after World War II. It's possible the chapel may have been spared the wrecking ball due to the important role it played in the life of the fort. So I got the sphere, whatever I said. Because there's no cross on the top, meaning non-denominational, regardless of what you believed in. Jewish, Hindu, Muslim. But in them days, the 30s, you better not say you're Muslim. I don't know. Yeah. Like the most southern churches from back in the day. Like I said, I've been saying then and now. So we had last minute. Well, we had a last minute. What was that? A smile. Yeah, we didn't have no plans for the day because we under quarantine, as they say. But I went out and we found something to do. We found that very interesting Fort Dupont. Wash your hands. Hey. Yeah. And after that, we spent the day out there. And then after that, we was riding around and take this last bit of time we had. And we did 2 miles in this park. Just walk around. It's about 4 times, 5 times, something like that. Anyway, and that's going to be the end of this. And I want everybody to have a nice day. Have a nice day or evening. Okay?